abortions,
pro-choice,
or
pro-life.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome back, everyone. Mis tacos picosos. Thank you for joining us again here on our Spicy Taco podcast. I am Ernesto el Pastor.
I'm Daniela Sada Martinez.
And I am Carlos Chorizo.
So, a little bit about us that I wanted to put out there. We're actually from Georgia, and there were some recent developments in the law in Georgia. Carlos, you want to tell us what that is?
So on February 25th of this year, there was a bill introduced by the name of HB 481. And later in May 7th was it, our trash-ass Governor Brian Kemp signed this bill that would later be called the Heartbeat Bill. Danny, would you like to tell us about this bill?
Yeah, so according to my little notes here, first of all, I would like to say that this would have not happened if Stacey Abrams would have actually won,
Yeah.
She did, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
At 6 weeks, a woman who's pregnant will no longer be allowed to abort. At the first sign of a heartbeat, the law will consider this cashew-sized fetus a living person. And, that's kind of like
what is that?
That's the point where women are just now finding out they're pregnant or missing their period.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just not giving them a chance to
it's
even know.
I don't know. I've always had a problem with the government involving themselves on certain things, even involving like gay rights and stuff like that. To tell a woman oh well, you know what, you can't do this or stuff like that.
And that's all the time. I mean, throughout history, that's always
been
women.
For women, yeah. It's always been you can't vote, you can't do this, and let's just limiting more.
Battle. Even the pink tax law.
Yeah.
One little quick note here, in case you guys didn't know, 69% of Georgians believe abortion should be legal, and that government should not prevent a woman from making a decision whether or not to have an abortion. That's 69%. That's a big majority.
Were you not also telling me that
State.
even people who go to church every week or something like that? You told me?
Yeah. That I think there was 59% of the people that go to church, because a lot of people think that a lot of the pro-lifers are religious people, people that go to church. They're God gave you this child, so you shouldn't abort it. But it turns out that 59% of regular church goers are actually support abortions as well, because they're saying the same things, let the woman choose.
Yeah.
Whatever she decides needs to happen for her body, and we can because you never know. There's different reasons why someone might want to get an abortion. It could be health reasons for themselves. They might have been raped. And to be fair, the HB 481 does provide exceptions in the event of rape if a police report is filed as well in an effort to save the life of the mother. But we still don't know. Because, what is it? If they have that abortion at 6 weeks or after 6 weeks, they could be charged as murderers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Back to what you were just saying about the as long as they file a police report.
Yeah.
What if they don't want to do that, involve the police? Because after you don't want to involve the police, or they're scared to involve the police, or they're going through this internal thing do I say something, do I not? And then they do decide, but it's too late after the 6 weeks.
Yeah, and that's true, because that's what's shown to happen with a lot of rape victims. It's they don't want to be exposed and tell people about what's happened because it's so traumatic. They don't want to relive it. So
exactly, and we've even seen why would I want to accuse police of not believing? But for the most part, people don't believe their allegations.
Yeah.
From what we're getting from this, I don't know what the sentence will be. I'm pretty sure murder is up there in a sentence. But they will be getting more time. A woman that aborts will be getting more time than the rapist.
Yeah.
Which is
technically.
We've seen rapists get a slap on the wrist.
6 months with that one guy?
Yeah. And it's
one white dude.
One white kid.
And now we're saying, oh, well, he impregnated her. She wants to get an abortion because she's been traumatized by this. She doesn't want to have this child. And she'll be arrested. She'll be charged with murder for aborting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So just to get involved in the overall topic, what do you guys consider yourselves? Pro-life, pro-choice?
So I'm pro-choice. I do believe that it's not none of my business. Like personally, like if me and my wife were to have a child, I wouldn't abort. But like I said, there are certain scenarios, like if her life was in danger. I've never been in a situation. I would never want to be in a situation, and I'm pretty sure it's a terrifying situation for any family that has to decide, especially if the mother's life is in danger.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like abortion is a thing to consider. But yeah.
I want to say that I'm leaning more towards the pro-choice. Pro-choice. I got questions for both sides, but I don't think there are any like super pressing questions that can't be answered. There's just, the topic's not as easy for me to talk about as maybe you guys, or maybe there's things that I have to ask that you guys could answer,
Right.
things like that. But for the most part, pro-choice here. What about you, Dan?
I'm also pretty pro-choice myself. It's just because, like, although I don't think I'll be involved too much because I'm gay, so I won't really be in that situation where, oh, I gotta go pregnant or anything. But it's just like, if a girl does decide, like, oh, I don't need this, I don't want this kid, but this law is making you keep this kid, what makes you say that this girl's gonna grow up loving the kid?
Yeah.
What if she grows up, or the kid grows up, and it's like going from house to house, because like, oh, I don't want to take care of him, so here's grandma, here's your aunt, here's this random guy or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that grows up to like a scarred childhood, which will grow up to a very could possibly grow up to a very what's it called, traumatized adult or whatever.
Yeah.
Psychological damage.
Yeah, mental health. That will grow up with mental health, and then cause more issues all along the line for future generations or whatever. It's just, or even just the fact of orphanages.
Right.
But the orphanages being packed up to capacity, more taxpayer money going into those places, and more kids being,
What's interesting, you talk about like taxpayer money because we hear all these negative things about food stamps, So any type of support is like they tell you like you can't abort, you have to have the child. Okay, I have this child, but I don't have enough money, the funds to feed him, to buy for him. Oh, well, you should work harder.
Yeah.
You should go to college. Well, I can't because you guys, the college is turned into more of a capitalistic game than anything else, and so it just becomes this whole big thing. It's like, and then ironically, some people will say, "Well, then why'd you even have the kid? I should have thought about it."
I was going to say,
and it's like,
kind of like, why didn't you just touch your legs? Well,
I was trying to.
like, at what point are we gonna say like the government should not get involved in certain things? Well, obviously, I don't mean like the government shouldn't provide avenues to make it easier for abortions. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't know. They would like to say that Planned Parenthood is just for abortions, but a lot of people don't know that what they do is that they help the mother, the expectant mother, through the process, and they screen them and they make sure that like, is this really what you want to do? Is this the better option for you? They don't just like, oh, you want abortion? Yeah, here we go. They work with them because this is a scary thing to have a child, especially for a lot of women, especially at a young age. And they have people there talking to them and having a conversation that they might not be having with their parents or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to include?
Well, one thing I was going to say was that a lot of states that the South is known for not having good sex education in schools. They're abstinence only, but other states, I'm not sure which ones exactly, but that will go in more in depth into sex education involving not safe sex. They actually give out condoms, whatever.
Yeah.
Their pregnancy rates have gone down way, or countries actually, I think it's Denmark or Netherlands, they're very open about sexuality. So at school from kindergarten they start teaching them, like not exactly like
they don't go into detail like, hey,
they start teaching them about how to give consent of hugs, just consent of like how to go up to a person and say, can I give you a hug? And that's how they teach them, consent.
Yeah.
From that on, every year they build on more on the stages of sex until eventually they talk about sex.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But their rates of pregnancy are
down.
And but we in the South want to be all.
Okay, so I've been thinking long and hard about this topic.
Yeah.
Because prior to us knowing that we would be talking about this, I didn't really have an overall opinion, or I didn't have questions that I actually felt were pressing enough for me, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I never really given it much thought. But this is what I came up with, and this is how I was able to explain it to myself in a way. Maybe it's not as deep as I think it is, because, again,
This is you.
this is me, but okay, I'll start. So, fetuses, right? Babies.
Yeah.
They're in a womb.
Yeah.
And the womb is in a woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And while this fetus is in a woman, it's not sentient, means it has no senses. It can't make choices for itself.
Right.
Up until about anywhere from the 25th to the 30th week,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And the way that they achieve this sentience is by the development of what's called the somatosensories. Now, there's two types. There's the periphery somatosensory. That's what's on the surface, the receptors on the surface of the body, so the skin, the muscles, the organs. Then there's the primary somatosensories, which are located in a region of the cerebral cortex.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when those two sensories form a functional pathway to each other, that's when they're considered to be low boundary sentience.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that to say this.
Right.
The woman is the provider.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that has to make the choices because she's sentient, right? So for the most part, when a woman becomes pregnant or when they're planning to get pregnant, they inform themselves a little bit about what they should or should not be ingesting. So the baby has no choice but to live, because it doesn't choose like, oh, I'm gonna eat today.
Yeah.
The umbilical cord is providing all the nutrients that the woman takes in, right?
Yeah.
So again, baby's not sentient, doesn't make the choice, the mother does. Now say the mother chooses to consume a toxin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say she's smoking or taking drugs, drinking alcohol. Again, the fetus, the baby, it doesn't get to choose, oh, this is bad for me, I'm not going to take it in.
It just takes it in.
It takes it in. That's all it knows. It's Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for people who are pro-choice, and I'll also ask a question for pro-life, so.
Mm-hmm.
For people who are pro-choice is, when, if ever, is it okay to say, you're not making the right choice. We're going to take these choices away from you. Say there is a woman who's carrying a baby who is harming it by taking in these toxins, but still choosing to have the baby, which will be born with all kinds of deficiencies. Mm-hmm. The baby again, doesn't have the choice. The mother's making bad choices. So is it okay for someone to step in and say, we're going to take this choice away from you because you're not making the right ones?
Right.
And for people who are pro-life, I would say, why does your moral code trump a woman's individual, personal, protected privacy?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that if you know that the fetus only survives if she chooses to provide, or she's providing with care the right things for that fetus, that she's not also able to make the conscious decision to sever that tie?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that I was able to come up with.
That's all?
Just that's it. Yeah, but it's just
That's not much, man.
everything that I read, it was just one side asking the other side questions and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah.
Well,
but that's what I came up with.
before I'll see if we answer it. Before we start answering, I do like that. That is a thing, that this is still a topic that people are discussing. We can get into the details about, well, men shouldn't be talking about women issues, but at the end of the day, a conversation should be had, and we should be listening to pro-lifers, pro-choicers. We should be talking to each other to come to an agreement, because otherwise it's just one group throwing slurs and the other, and so on and so forth, and nothing's changing. Women are still being subjected to these horrible laws, and we're not really having a conversation about it. But you want to answer any of that, Danny? And if you don't know, that's fine.
one of those case by case things.
Yeah.
Which
So personally, I think the government should not be involved. Like, the government's there to make life easier for us, or I wouldn't say easier for us, but they're there to provide certain things like the police, fire department, stuff like that, to help the general public. So they shouldn't go in and affect individual people's choices on stuff. And while it is disgusting, at least to me, to see like someone knowing that they're damaging their child, I'm not someone to go in and tell them like, you need to stop. Now,
I just thought of something.
and I'll let you get to it. If it's a family member of mine, if it's someone that I care about, I will have that conversation with them. Like, hey, what you're doing is not healthy for the child. And if they snap on me, they have the right to. But I feel like a stranger shouldn't. If a pregnant woman smoking on the street, I'm not gonna go tell her like, hey, you should stop because it's bad for the child. Like,
yeah,
she should know. And it's not that I don't care about her, but it's not the same as if it were like my sister, a niece, a cousin, something like that.
Of course.
But to say that, I'm going to force them to stop, I can't, because I'm a believer that you cultivate, your, like, you make your decisions, you make your choices, and you have to live with the consequences. Yeah, and if they're going to have the child and they're going to raise a child, there's really not much we can do.
But we can agree that it's inhumane, right?
Oh yeah, it's if you're doing it consciously.
Yeah.
If you know that you're damaging this child, this fetus, and you're drinking and you're smoking, I mean, do you? But like, yes, you are definitely damaging or hurting. This like you said, it doesn't know any better. You know better, but you choose not to care.
You should know better.
Yeah.
So you're saying at the point where this is happening, the baby is, quote unquote, like a baby at this point, right?
It's from the beginning.
Yeah, from the
Or
beginning.
at any point.
Because I guess it's kind of like brings in, because you said the government shouldn't get involved, but then say Child Protective Services. Once the baby's born, they're involved, kind of. Like, if something bad, they're like, if they're abusing the kid. Are they abusing the womb? They're abusing.
Well, actually, they already.
So then, do they go in?
They already do have things in that, because like like crack babies, like that they come out like addicted to cocaine and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's sad. That's very sad to see, and they are trying to crack down on that because
no pun intended.
Yeah, because it's once the baby's born, we all have that issue once at a certain point in our life where we're like, we didn't choose to be born. We didn't choose this, we didn't choose that.
Yeah.
We get the cards that we're dealt. And it makes it even more difficult when you know that your mother made certain choices that impacted you in ways that didn't impact other people, of mothers that took better care of themselves. And I don't know, it's a touchy subject. It is a touchy subject.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those things that no one can decide on. No one can be on one side fully and the other side fully. So the government shouldn't try to be one side or the other. It's just keep it up.
Just give people their privacy. That's how I feel. Give women their privacy. Give them the choice that they deserve to make.
Well, it's interesting you talk about that because I have a question of my own. So, let's say the woman, the expectant mother decides she wants to have an abortion, but the father wants to have the child, wants her to have the child. Before everyone goes to the comment section like, that's her choice. I agree with that. But we've seen the scenario flipped time and time again all over entertainment industry where the deadbeat dad doesn't want to have the kid and he's trying to force the expectant mother to abort. And we can all demonize him, villainize him like, oh, he's a terrible person. But when the shoe's another foot, what should be done in that situation?
I kind of thought about this a little bit, and at first I was like, oh man, I'm a man, so I'm like, if I'm ever with a woman and we about to have a baby and she's like, I don't want it no more, and I want it, we're gonna have to go to court. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, whoa.
Yeah.
We don't hit women.
Yeah.
But but it's still the woman's choice. As bad and as harsh as that may seem, it's her choice, and maybe I can see there being a thing like where if you're married and this is like 4 months in, she wanted the baby at first and then she decided I don't want it anymore, then it's kind of like, I don't know if you can go to court for that, but like why?
Right.
You know, because it's hard, but at the end of the day, it's still the woman's choice to make, because she's the one with the intimate link, and
she has to go through the process,
Right.
birthing process. It's her body at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you could, if I was in that situation and somehow science was that, like, we could give me the baby real quick and I'll just carry it. There we go. But it's at the end, she's gonna go through the pain. She's gonna go through the mood swings or all the pregnancy checklist.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I still believe that, you know, if it's a partnership, if they both agree that they want to have this child, and, you know, if it's costing her life and all these other scenarios, but, you know, they both made a conscious decision, we're going to have this kid. Biologically, men can have it, so the woman knows, like, she's going to be carrying it. I feel like the man, if they both agree, like, yes, we want to have this child, and then, like you said, 4 months in, she's like, yeah, I don't want it no more. That is kind of harsh. I feel like there should be something that, there should be some say, at least in the fathers. But, like you said, you can't force someone to do something, that have something. Luckily, I guess, fortunately, science has come to the point where, you know, now you can take the fetus out the womb and have an artificial womb.
Which would be another topic.
That's another topic.
That's kind of crazy to me.
That's kind of crazy. But, yes, it's just an interesting thing. I feel like, once again, this case by case, you know, there's been scenarios of that. The thing I did want to mention is, so according to the bill, the heartbeat bill, the fetus after 6 weeks is alive. It's considered a living person. And right now, the lawyers are having a debate about this. They're talking about this because what does that mean for pregnant inmates?
I was going a whole nother direction, but that's a good point.
Yeah, like you know, they're basically having pregnant inmate babies are basically being held captive against their will. You know, they're innocent. They haven't had due process. So what does that mean? What are we going to do about that? Yeah. Anything else? That's just something I wanted to.
Just real quick, another thing that I've heard also that was saying that they were saying on Instagram was that if a woman was to, like, say, try to find a cheat code and, like, go to another state and try to get the abortion somewhere where it is legal, the law would follow her to that state and then still, you know, convict her of murder. And if she, say, took her boyfriend or sister, her best friend to this place, whoever took her to this to get the abortion at wherever this place is, they would be charged with what's it called?
Conspiracy? No,
conspiracy.
because they're involved.
Conspiracy,
Compliance,
or aiding the murder.
Yeah,
accomplice.
That's kind of messed up.
I like that you called it a cheat code, because women shouldn't need no damn cheat codes.
No.
Let women be women. Let them do what they do. Let them make the choices that they gotta make, man.
Well, one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to have females' input in all this. The wife says she would want the input here, but she doesn't want to be on camera, so you just hear her talking about it. What do you have? What is your points on this?
Well, I am pro-choice. So, you know, growing up in the Latino community, growing up Catholic, going to church, like, I am pro-choice. I do think that a man should not be able to tell me what I want to do with my body. And I don't, like, if you're going to agree, like, if you're going to be pro-life, you're going to be creating all these babies, overpopulating, for one. A lot of these kids that are not wanted, it's bad to say, but, like, a lot of these kids that aren't wanted, if they're not going to be wanted, if you're going to put them into the foster system, into those homes, at least make the process easier for people who want to adopt kids. Make it easier for them to be able to do that. If you want, you know, even like for LGBTQ couples, make it easier for them to be able to adopt those kids, because somebody's going to want them. Yeah. But you guys, like with this pro-life thing, you're like, no, the mom should be able to keep the baby. Like, no, it's not. It's not fair. You shouldn't put that decision onto someone who doesn't. And even if the baby is created like it's through consensual sex, if the couple doesn't feel ready to bring a baby into this world, then they shouldn't have to, because like you guys were saying, they're not going to be wanted. They're going to grow up with all this resentment towards the parents, and the parents are going to be resenting their kids. So it just brings up a whole
slew.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think that anyone should tell me if I should or should not have a baby.
Yeah. And I think it really just comes down to that. Like, we wouldn't want anyone to tell us, and it might be just an offhand joke that Congress is doing for, they're like, guys shouldn't be masturbating now.
Yeah.
They'll be killing sperm cells.
I thought it was interesting that you said that men shouldn't have a say, and it's true. Man, we some trash sometimes, but neither should other women who have kids already, because we understand, or at least I understand, I'm sure you guys understand too, that the link between a woman and the baby she's carrying is one of the most profound, most intimate, most beautiful connections that there must be. Us as men probably could never understand, right? But other women who have had that should not be involving themselves in another woman's choice, because just because you know what it's like to have a child or to give birth and stuff, don't project that. Let them have the choice and let them have the say for their own bodies, for their own lives. But that's all.
I just think that if the government wants to get involved in schools. Sex education is where this all starts.
Yes, sir.
And we need to stop with the whole, girls shouldn't be wearing short dresses, blah, blah, blah. Like, you also need to teach your
What do
men.
they teach you in school? Express yourself. If that's what they want to express themselves with, then do it.
We need to teach our men to be more respectful, to be more mindful, and keep their hands on themselves. But I think that wraps it up for this podcast. Thank you guys for joining us.
We definitely like to know what you guys stand on. If you guys are want to start a conversation, in the comments below.
Yeah, or message us directly on Instagram. Follow us on our Instagram. Comment, tell your friends.
Share this.
Friends. Tell them, we spicy over here, kind of mild. Mild right now, but
we're going to get spicy.
We're going to get to it.
Also, if you guys disagree with us and you want to leave a comment, feel free to leave a comment. We'll have a conversation, but we're having a conversation. We're not going to argue. Is there anything you guys have a problem with?
Keep it sane.
Yeah.
Make the argument. We'll respond how we respond. Cuss us out. Do what you got to do.
Don't be afraid.
But don't put it on the comments. Do it, erase it, then post a nice one. Just rant for a little bit.
Yeah, because it's an emotional thing, so get emotional. That's how it should be.
Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time.
We'll see you next podcast.